with you just telling me about stories that you remember from growing up on the farm. Like, what were the types of things you would do every day and that type of thing?
What we would do every day. Well, we'd work every day, I can tell you that. I mean, there was a lot of chores to be done on the farm, all manual labor. Uh, as far as fun, I don't know, we would play some ball. We didn't do a lot of things on the farm, I guess, for fun. Uh, I'm not sure what you want me to tell you.
Well, like for people who didn't grow up here in this area, like how would
Oh.
you describe your family life?
Well, for one thing, my mother would always have full meals. We'd have a breakfast, we would have dinner, we would have supper, so there were always good meals, all home cooked meals, a lot of the stuff grown at home, our own meat. When it come to going to town on Saturday night, we probably wouldn't take a bath until Saturday, and we'd all share the same water. And we'd get clean and put on good clothes and go to town, go to a movie. A movie and popcorn cost 25 cents, so that was good.
Was that the big thing to do in town, was go to the movie, or was there other stuff?
No, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, the town would be full of people on Saturday night, so you'd see a lot of friends. And then as far as we went to school, we would walk 1.5 miles to go to school, and during the wintertime we would take horse and sled, and got complicated once in a while when there were storms. Sometimes we would kind of get under the covers and the horses would find their way home. And then of course there was a barn there that we had to clean out in the springtime. So that was the school part. And there was only 2 families in school, the Bednausens and the Rileys.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was a total of probably 8, 9, 10 children. That was interesting.
Yeah. If you would describe your parents to people, like how do you describe them? What were their personalities?
How would I describe it? Well, my mother was a very kind person. She would do anything to help us. I know we would come home late on a dance night or something like that, and my dad would always have a lot of work lined up for us, and he would give us chores to do, and when he'd leave, we knew sometimes he wouldn't come home for a long time, so we'd go back in the house and take a nap, and then my mother would look out the window because you could see him coming from about 1 mile away, and she'd wake us and we'd go outside.
So she kind of protected you.
Yeah,
then.
so she was a very good person. My dad was very strict. He believed we were made to work, and but you know he was good to us. But he worked us hard.
He was pretty involved in politics, wasn't he?
He was very political, and of course he raised shorthorn cattle and sold bulls. So that would give us an extra chore to do. There was always chores. I never had to milk. My sisters and my mom milked. I would feed the pigs, feed the cattle, and stuff like that. I went out on a tractor when I was probably 7 years old out in the field. And my mother says she would always worry about me, and she'd always look out the window to see if I was still making my rounds. That's about all.
What kind of relationship did your kids have with your parents? Like, were they able to see them a lot?
Yeah, I guess my mother was always home. She never was one to go out. In fact, my dad would go to dances and weddings and stuff like that, and she was always hesitant to go along, but she always went along. And of course, as we got older, we got to go along too, but a lot of times we stayed at home. Did our own thing, whatever it was.
Was she shy? Like, why didn't she want to go to those things?
Yeah, she was a shy person, very shy person. Although if she knew somebody, then she could visit with them. And but other than that, even when she lived in town here, she liked the people that would come that she knew real well. If a stranger would come, she was kind of hesitant to visit.
What do you remember about, like what kind of relationship were you able to have with her, like her entire life? Because a lot of people nowadays, don't live in the same place where they grew up. If you could describe.
Well, I lived in Bismarck for 15 years, so there I seen her very little, except when we come home on weekends. But when I moved back here in '76, I mean, we would be up there all the time, and of course, so would everybody else. So she always had a lot of company, but we've seen her not daily, but several times a week always. And she liked that. She always thanked us for coming.
Do you remember when the last time there was a Raile reunion, or how often are you able to see your brothers and sisters and the whole family?
Well, recently, quite often. We were just down in Florida and seen them, and we were all there, and now here. See Lawrence once a year, see Charlene once or twice a year, see Francis quite often in Fargo, see Eddie once in a while, not too often. So, see him quite often.
Do you think, are there characteristics about you guys that are, like, is there any way in which you're all the same? Is there like something that would describe how the Railes are?
Oh, I don't know. You take Charlene and Francis. I mean, they're very outgoing. I'm a little more reserved. Eddie's quite a bit more reserved. Lawrence, I don't know what to say about him. Shervin is outgoing. So I guess we're kind of outgoing.
Talkative family, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anything else you want to
No,
add?
this is enough.